Okay, so I put this video in 3 parts because there's been people that were absent and stuff. So extra practice for our 7.1 notes. Pay close attention to your directions. Your directions, you guys, are going to tell you different things, and we've already realized that we're going to be talking interior and exterior angles. Find the sum of the measures of the interior angles of the indicated convex polygon. We figured out and learned off the first page of our notes that if we take the number of sides minus 2 and multiply that one by 180, that will give us those sums. Interior angles, this one is all about interiors. And it probably is a good idea for you to start just writing stuff in the margin. Am I dealing with interior or am I dealing with exterior? Anytime we're dealing with interior, we can't just assume it's 360. We got to go figure out, okay, an octagon has how many sides, guys?
8.
Yeah. So to figure out the sum of the measures, interior angles of an octagon, we're going to have to find out what 8 minus 2, which is 6. What's 6 times 180? Octagon has 8 sides, 6 triangles would... What is it? Oh, we had it on the table, didn't we? 1080. We had an octagon on our table in the front. Now, you guys, what if they said each interior angle? What would we do with this? If it was regular, you know, like if this was a regular octagon, all the angles and sides were the same, and it said find each interior angle, we'd have to take this and divide it by 8. Exteriors is always 360, but with interiors, it's going to be a different number based on the number of sides. Exteriors was always 360, but interiors, we'd have to figure out this first. Now, with this being a 15-gon, that means that the n is 15. If I've got 15 sides, I'm going to be able to break that up into a minimum number of triangles would be 13. Go find out what 13 times 180 is. 2304. Perfect. Interiors, the number of sides makes you do a math calculation. N is 24, a 24-gon. It's going to be broken up into 22 triangles. I would hate to have to draw that. That's why we got the formula. So what's 22 times 180? Oh gosh, say it again. 3960. Thank you. So interiors make us do the math, follow that little formula. I think we're still messing around with interior. Oh yeah, so we're still on interiors in 4 through 6. Read the directions to yourself. It's working a little bit differently than 1 through 3. Read the directions to yourself. Asking that question of you right now, how are those directions different from the 1 through 3? They're giving us the final answer from doing n minus 2 times 180. They're giving us the answer from doing n minus 2 times 180. Take a look at the equation I wrote up here. They're telling us for a certain number of sides, the sum of the interiors is 900. So we're going to use our algebra, you guys. We need to figure out how many sides, but let's get this. Let's just divide both sides by 180 first, because I think we can make this into a much easier problem to solve. Let's get that out of there. So what is 900 divided by 180? Okay. So now I'm down to 5 equals n minus 2. How do I finish? So something that is broken up into 5 triangles must have started out being 7-sided. You guys see where I'm going with that? Undoing and working backwards. 900 divided by 180 said this figure was broken up into 5 triangles. It must have had 7 sides to start. $16.20 equals sum n minus 2 times 180. Now we're going to figure out how many sides were we dealing with if the interior sum was 1620. Divide both sides by 180. What does that equal? 9. So how many sides must the figure have had if it was broken up into 9 triangles? Must have started with 11. So working backwards on this. Anybody set up the last one? $28.80 equals n minus 2 times 180. What do you get? Say it again. In the end, it's 16? Okay, so when I divided by 180 on both sides, that's 16, you're saying, right? So, yep, again, if I wind up breaking it up into 16 triangles, like Ava said, oopsie, not n plus 2, n minus 2. When I add my 2, it must have started out with 18 sides. So we just took the interior idea and we worked both ways. What questions might you have before we go on? Okay. Now, tackling problems down here. I'm going to ask you guys a couple of questions about them. Are we dealing with a number 7? Are we dealing with interior or exterior angles? Okay, let's just put that out to the side. And how many sides does this figure have? Okay, let's leave that right there. Let's leave that right there for now. Let's go over to number 8. Am I dealing with interiors or exteriors? Interiors. How many sides does this polygon have? I got 6. As I was counting, you guys, what does this mean right here? Okay, I'm going to write 90 degrees here. We'll come back to that one. I'm just kind of looking at what am I dealing with in these. I'm going to go right below to 10. Interior or exterior? Do the number of sides matter? What are they all going to add up to? I'm going to leave that right there. Cool. Might as well. Now let's back over to number 9. What are they giving us with number 9? We're at interior again. Couple things here, you guys. How many sides are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. N is 5. And then I've got another one of those 90-degree angles. And then, interestingly enough, in this one, we have 2 X's, but that just means that those 2 angles are the same. So, what do we know about, let's go back to number 7. We can use our table on the front of our notes packet, or we can do the math. This is 4-sided. This would be broken up into 2 triangles, and 2 triangles, 2 times 180 tells me that if it's a 4-sided figure that these all have to add up to 360. What might you do to figure out what X is?
Add up all of them, and then plus X, and then equals 360.
So let's do that. Let's just write it 360 equals X plus, can you go get the sum of these other 3? And you can tackle these in different ways, but let's just add up those other 3. I'm not writing it all down. I'm going to write the equation down, but what is it? There's no way. 65, 95, and 45. 205? So let's take 205 away from both sides. Oh, I thought you said 1205. I'm like, what are you? So then what's that missing angle, you guys? The missing angle is 155 degrees. Now, our sum of the interior angles is different in number 8 because this is a 6-sided figure. If we look back to our first page, a 6-sided figure, 6 minus 2 times 180, 4 times 180 was 720. So this one's 720 degrees. Why don't we use the same idea? 720 is going to be equal to X plus, there's the X over here. Let's add up all the rest. Put together what's here, the 140, the 130, the 120. Don't forget the 90. and the 150. Anybody has those 5 angles together, let us know. 630, okay, good, thank you. So add up what's there. Now let's take that away from 720. That one's a 90-degree angle? Okay, we could actually even go put a marking there if we wanted to. Done. And let's go down to number 10. We know the sum is 360. We know the sum is 360 for 10, and I know we got 9 to do, but you guys know I like to move below. 360 is going to be equal to x plus, oh, we got something going on here. Oh, interesting. I got to give myself a little bit more room. 360, I'm going to actually spread this one out a bit more. 4x plus 98 plus x plus 162. You guys see how I just went all the way around that one instead of doing the pieces? Because I noticed that there wasn't only an x, but there's also a 4x. So we're sitting in the position where we've got to add up some like terms over here before we can start simplifying. 4x and x is going to give me 5 x's. And then 98 plus 162 should be 260. Double check that, you guys. 98 plus 162, 260. And we've got to find the value of x. What's going to happen next? Take away 260 on both sides. It's going to leave me with 100. Hundred is 5x. X is going to be 20. Let's go over to number 9. A pentagon. What was the sum of the angles in a pentagon? Let's look back. 540, thank you, good. Okay, now we've got 2 x's in here, so I'm going to look at this one a little bit differently than 2. So 540 equals, I got x plus x. I'm going to put that together. 2x plus, can you guys put together the 90, the 100, and the 70 now? 2x plus, what's the 90, the 100, and the 70? 260? Okay, now how are we going to get to x? Let's take away our 260. 2x remains on the right. What's left on the left? 280. So then when we divide both sides by 2, each of those angles are 140 degrees. There's what our x is. So there you have it. And you guys are going to practice all problems like this. And I know there's a lot. You got to make sure you're separating your interior and exterior. And then watch for reading about each angle. That'll make a difference.